Today we are going over how to remove medical collections from your credit report. And this video was actually requested by multiple people, so for the issues that you're having, make sure to drop it in the comments and let me know, because if there's enough people, I might make a video about it, all right? So there's many ways that you can go after medical collections. You can basically say that it's unknown. You can try to use HIPAA if the account has been paid, or you can dispute directly with the collector, right? So these are a couple of the things that we are going over today. Now, there's way more that you can do. There are multiple tactics, like there's over 20 tactics for removing specifically medical collections, but we're only talking about these 3 today. Now, if you go back a couple videos, if you go back actually into the playlist for dispute tactics, you're going to find medical collections, how to remove medical collections using the HIPAA violation process. So you are definitely going to want to check out that video after you watch this one, okay? Now, if you go back a couple of years, you're also going to find 5 videos specific to removing medical collections. So if you take a look at your screen, you're going to see a flowchart, right? Gotta love flowcharts. Anyways, you're going to see a flowchart, and there's 2 specific things we're doing here. On the left-hand side, we have our bureau disputes, and on the right-hand side, we have our direct to collector disputes. Okay, so if at any time you would like some more information on factual disputes or just some better resources than just videos, you can always go down into the description, click on the link for the subscriber hub or just the member vault, and get access to free, awesome tutorials right there. Now, if this is just not for you, you don't even want to dispute anymore, because yes, this is frustrating, that's okay. You can schedule a call directly with me one-to-one to see if I can take over your credit file and do the credit sweep for you. That link is also in the description, as well as the very first comment. So let's get going. We are going to go over on the right-hand side, direct to collector first, okay? So obviously, we have our medical collection. This part doesn't matter if it is paid or unpaid, because the very first thing that we have to do is figure out if it is. So if the account is not paid, or you're really just not looking into paying it, you don't have the money, you don't want to pay them, whatever the thing is, if it's not paid and you're not going to pay it, you're going to skip this first step. All right, so you cannot use the HIPAA violation process for medical collections, specifically if the account is not paid or you're not going to pay it. So if not, you're going to go down to the validation of debt method, direct to the collector. If you are willing to pay the account, or you have already paid the account, then you can attempt to use the HIPAA violation process. And again, go back to the playlist for dispute tactics and check out video number 1, okay? So let's assume that you're not gonna pay it, or it's not paid, or this process didn't work. So we're gonna go down and start our validation of debt direct to collector. Now, I have substantial documentation on how this works, so if you're interested, I may post a link in there, but if you're interested, I may actually create a video series, if there's enough people that want it, where it breaks down how to actually do this entire thing, okay? So we're going to send out letter 1, and it's really just a request for validation, okay? So I really don't like templates, but that's for the bureaus. When you're dealing with the creditors and the collectors, it's okay to use templates. You actually don't want to put things in there that are not supposed to be there, or not put things there that are supposed to be there. So it is a great way to ensure that you're sending out the right thing, okay? And they don't handle disputes the same way that the bureaus do. So they're not looking to see if this letter has already been sent a million times and all that kind of stuff. They don't do that, okay? I mean, most of the time your disputes go in the garbage anyways, but that's besides the point, all right? So it's okay to send out templates to the collector. So we're going to send out letter 1, a very simple request for validation. Now, there are different variations for the letters that you can find. I always use the same one. So mine do not vary, but there are certain things that I don't like in some of the other letters, like threats and all this other stuff. So mine's very specific, okay? I'm probably going to share one later on with what it looks like. So let's say that 30 days later, you pull your report, that account is still on there. Now what do? Well, did they reply with the requested documentation? Did they validate this debt for the account is on your credit report? If not, you're going to go to letter 2B, where they either didn't reply or they didn't prove it. Now, if they did reply with proof or they replied, then you can go to letter 2A. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing where we wait 30 days after we send out letter 2A or letter 2B, and I will share those in that series if I create it, so that you can see the difference between them. But I'm going to explain this very, very simply at the end of going over this right-hand side. So now we wait, we pull our report. Is the stuff on there? Yes? Okay, now we're going on to letter 3. Now, if the account or accounts that you're disputing have been deleted, that's it. You don't go further, okay? There's no reason to send out any additional letters, okay? Now, letter 3 is actually the key to this entire thing. I don't care if they send me something with my signature. That's not what I'm going for, okay? Now, I'm going for the notice of dispute that's required to be there. I'm actually going to start sending out my letters for this or these accounts specifically prior to sending them or disputing them with the bureaus. So if I were to add an additional note to this, I would put wait 15 or 30 days prior to disputing with the credit bureaus over on the left-hand side. So did they enter the required notice of dispute within 30 days from the date that they received the first letter? If no, it's a violation. It is a violation. Now, if they did, but they didn't send you proof, it's a violation. If they sent you proof but didn't put the notice of dispute, it's a violation. Now, you can only get them on one violation. And it's not like you're going to get like $1,000 for this and $1,000 for that and $1,000 here and $1,000 there. You're only going to get them on one violation, right? Or you're only going to get money for one violation, even if there's like 5, okay? So just keep that in mind if you are going to go through with a lawsuit for this, all right? Now, your last step to this is going to be letter 4, the intent to sue, or that you have already filed because you're going to send them a copy of it. But I always say put that on the back burner, go through the entire process with the bureaus on the left-hand side first before even considering to do that. Now, if you are one of those people that just go and, sue everyone and their mom, then hey, that's your prerogative. Do what you do. But I'm very specifically talking about this and trying to keep you out of, away from having to go to court, okay? So if we were to just kind of put our hand over this last part right here and pretend it's not there, let's pretend that we're just going to jump over to the left-hand side and we're going to say, you know what? We're not talking about lawsuits right now. But just in case, it is there in case you need it, okay? So now we have waited our 15 to 30 days and we're going to send out letter 1. So the way that this would work is you would send out your letter 1 request validation, wait 15 to 30 days, and then send out letter 1 for the bureaus. Okay, so you don't go all the way through the right-hand side and then go over to the left. There's only 15 to 30 days between sending out letter 1 request for validation and letter 1 for the credit bureaus. Now, this is really, really simple. You're going to tell the bureaus that you don't know what this is. Like, what the heck is this? Okay, I don't know what this is and I want you to remove it. Letter 2, if it's still there, well, okay, I told you that I don't know what it is, but now I need for you to give me proof of ownership, right? Like, what do you have? And I know you don't have anything that proves that this account belongs to me. And just as a side note, the bureaus are actually required to have this documentation on hand when these accounts are submitted by the furnisher or the collector, okay? So obviously they don't have it. What gets submitted over to them is literally just records in a database. At first it's only like 100 to 200 accounts when they first get it set up, and then they submit however many that they want if there are no issues, right? But there's never any additional documentation. The documentation is only obtained or, an investigation into documentation or accuracy after a dispute has been submitted. So that is very important to understand. Now, if the account is still there and you're obviously still disputing on the right-hand side, you're going to go over to letter 3. The collector didn't validate. Don't use the word verify. It's validate. The collector didn't validate. All right. Now, we also have letter 4. Now, letter 4 is actually where you start the factual disputes, okay? We've already gone through the very basic, like, this crap is unknown type of deal, and now we're going over to factual, because we don't want to continue on with that. This is unknown, this is unverified, this is unknown, this is unverified, you didn't prove it, blah, blah, blah. You know how much I hate that process. So that's why we're only using it minimally, and if it doesn't work, that's it. We move on, okay? And just as a side note here, on the right-hand side, when you're disputing with a collector, if you have multiple accounts with that one collector, same collector name, same account number, same everything, not account number, address, same everything, then you can put multiple accounts on that one letter. You don't have to send one letter per account. You send out one letter with all of your associated accounts for that collector, okay? So on letter 1, as you know, we start with our blatant inaccuracies, right? Now we can go after violations. We can look for late payments or a past due on a collection. We can also, and this is very important, please listen to what I am going to say. I see this all the time. I can't even tell you how many times I see it. I just saw it this morning. It's where it just says original creditor and there's no collector name and there's no address. That cannot be verified. And furthermore, section 623 states that if an account might be inaccurate, right? If there might be an issue with it, then whoever the furnisher is, whoever is going to report the information must report an address for the consumer to directly contact them. So by them reporting original creditor, no name, no address, that takes away your right to contact that collector or that furnisher directly. So that is a violation of section 623. Okay, that is very, very important. You can get an account removed just by going after that. So now we looked for our violations, and now we're just going to go down the hierarchy, but it's in a very specific order for medical collections. So we're looking at the elements. We're going through the date last active, the date last paid, and the payment history. Now on letter 4, I think it's letter 4. Is that supposed to say 3? Letter 3. Okay. So my bad. That's a typo. For letter 3, we're going after the notice of dispute. Just the same as when we went after the collector on letter 3 for notice of dispute, we're also going after the bureaus. So please understand that the bureaus are more likely to enter this required notice of dispute than the collector, which is why we start with the collector first so that we can target them on letter 3 to get our deletion. All right. Now, lastly, we can go after, and this is letter 4, the date last reported. So when you dispute and they quote unquote verify something, they're supposed to update the date last reported to be when they verified this account. If they do not change this date to be when they quote unquote verified this account, then it means to me that they didn't investigate, because if they had, that date would have changed, okay? So for medical collections, it's very, very specific how you're going to go after them. And one of these things is going to get that account removed. If it doesn't, you have other remedies. You have over 20 other tactics that you can use directly to the collector, as well as other tactics that you can use, like the squeaky wheel method and a bunch of other ones that you can go after the bureaus with. But this will just give you a general idea, even though it is more advanced than general, of how that, like what you can do to remove any medical collection, regardless of whether it has a balance or not, from your credit report. Now, remember, you can also do the intent to sue. You can also file against them, and you can also add in your other complaints, right? The BBB, the CFPB, the AG, the FTC, whoever the heck you want to, whatever acronym, NASA, you want to throw in the NSA. I don't really care. They're all out there. You want to make the complaints, do you? It might get your your deletion faster by making these complaints against the creditor. Now, excuse me, not creditor, but collector. There's one last thing that I want to explain here. So on the right-hand side, when we're disputing with the collector, there's, sorry, I just had a brain fart. I'm trying to think of what I wanted to say because I was thinking about it when I was going over the right-hand side. So the way that this works, and like I said, I will make a series on this. I was considering it when I said it, but after going through this, I realized that I really should make a series on how to remove using the validation of debt. Now, when we send out our letter 1 request for validation and we're waiting for, proof, no proof, reply, no reply, it's very, very important that you send out the right letter. Very, very, very important that you send out the right letter, because you don't want it to seem like you're just choosing a letter. You don't want to send a letter that says something that did or did not happen when, it's the opposite. So you need to be very, very, very careful, okay? And I'm going to show you those letters in that series that I will start working on after we complete our dispute tactics series, okay? So that is it for today on how to remove medical collections and the different tactics, just generally speaking, that you can take to get these removed from the credit report. I will tell you that there are times when it's very difficult for me to remove medical collections, which is why I've had to come up with all these different tactics and all of that, because you have to remember, they couldn't force you to pay. We can't force them to delete, right? Now, having said that, I know that there's going to be some hater that's going to post a comment that says something about something, but you know what? I've been doing this for over a decade. I've been showing you my proof and my results and my tactics and all of that on YouTube since 2016. So you know that what I say is true. The things that I show you, I prove, and my tactics work because I show you the results, right? So having said that, I only show you the things that I actually use. So if I don't show you normally, it means that I'm not using it, or, you know, it's not for the general public to use because, you know, might be misused or something. But anywho, if you want to learn more about factual disputes, you can go check out the free subscriber hub. The link is in the description, as I mentioned. And if you want to schedule a one-on-one call with me, that link is also in the description, and it's at the top of the screen as well. It is vcita.com/expert credit sweeps, and I'll help if I can. All right, so that is it for today. Go check out that video 1 for HIPAA violations process, for medical collections. And I'm actually going to drop the video on the end of this video so that you can easily access it just by clicking on it. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope this clarified how to remove medical collections. And again, just as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, if there's something that you would like to see, if you want to learn specifically, make sure to drop it in the comments so that I see it, and so that if there are multiple people that are requesting the same thing, then I'll make the video, because that's why I made this video. All right, so again, that is it. Have a wonderful day, and have a great rest of your week, and take care.